I looked at it as if it was a race or as if it was a competition. So it was me versus him or her or it being the disease. And so
if you want to truly be great, you have to be completely dedicated to your craft. No matter what happens, you need to stay true to yourself and constantly believe that what you're doing is in the best interest of yourself. You don't ever have to worry about what other people think because they don't know what's going on in your head and they don't understand how you operate to the fullest. People may know you, but that doesn't mean they know everything about you and who you are inside and out. So you need to make sure that when you're making a decision, you make the decision for you, not for anybody else, because when it comes down to it, you're gonna have to make sure that you're okay with that decision.
I started just personally to get a pretty incredible amount of interesting deal flow.
They're not gonna really be affected on the day-to-day life of whatever decision you make because you constantly need to make sure that you are focused on you. You don't need to worry about other people and how they feel and what decisions they make and how that affects you. You need to make sure that you are making the best choice for you to constantly better yourself. And you want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're happy with. And you need to do whatever you can to stay as happy as possible because you don't want to be stuck doing the same thing day in and day out, being miserable and hating it. You want to find the one thing that you are truly passionate about and truly love and pursue that with all your energy and all your focus so that one day you can enjoy it for the rest of your life.
I still like to do this, and in fact I love this. So I decided to retire from retirement.
So we decided at that time, and this was in sometime in mid-1997, that we would announce that I was going to race again. I needed to take a year off from the disease. I said to my agent, who's again a friend of mine, I said, listen, put out the announcement that I want to race again and just get ready for the phone to start ringing because this is an amazing story. So we announced that I wanted to race and the phone never rang. And I said, well, maybe we better start calling some of these teams. I said, but don't call the American team, whatever you do, sponsored by the Postal Service. So I said, call the Italian teams. They called the Italian teams, no interest. Call the Dutch teams, no interest. Belgian teams, no interest. Damaged goods, if he relapses, it's bad exposure for us, et cetera, et cetera. I hate to say this, but call the French teams. And finally I said, okay, listen, we're going to have to call the American team. So we called the United States Postal Service team, who was really, I often refer to them as the bad news bears of cycling. They were terribly organized, terrible equipment, not a great roster, never won races, barely made it into the Tour de France in 1998. They made it in as a wild card team, which basically means that the French organizers wanted them in the race so that they could sell the TV rights to an American audience. But they were the one place that gave me the opportunity to race.
But primarily, I wouldn't change the lessons that I've learned. I mean, I don't learn all the lessons if I don't act that way. And I don't get investigated and sanctioned if I don't act the way I acted. If I just doped and didn't say a thing, none of that would have happened. None of it. I was begging for it. I was asking for that. I was asking for them to come after me. And it was an easy target. The feeling of freedom and time to be alone, to be outside, to be away. You know, when you're 13, everybody wants to be away, right? You want to be away from your mom, your dad, your whoever. And so I was out. Most kids just rip down the corner and, you know, mom can't see them and they're free. I was, you know, taking 50-mile rides and I was truly free. I mean, look, what did we say? We said we work the hardest, we have the best tactics, we have the best team composition, we have the best director, best equipment, best technology, do more research, recon the courses, all the things we said, we did. We left out a part, but we did all that stuff. Because now this one part is part of the story, it doesn't erase all that. All that happened. If you just said this one thing and did none of that, you get last.
When I made that decision, when my teammates made that decision, when the whole peloton made that decision, we get it. It was a bad decision in an imperfect time, but it happened. When Lance Armstrong did that, I know what happened because of that. I know what happened to the sport of cycling from 1990 to 2005. I saw its growth, I saw its expansion. I know what happened with the industry, the cycling industry. I know what happened to Trek bicycles, 100 million in sales to $1 billion in sales. I know what happened to my foundation from raising no money to raising $500 million, serving 3 million people. Do all those people do we want to go make a different decision? Do we want to take it away? I don't think anybody says yes. But what we want and what I want, I don't really care what anybody else wants. I'll tell you what I would want to do, is I would want to change the man that did those things. Maybe not the decision, but the way he acted, the way he treated other people, the way he just couldn't stop fighting. It was great to fight in training, great to fight in the race. You don't need to get in a press conference or an interview or a personal interaction and fight. I mean, I'd be fighting with you right now. I would be taking you on. You know, that's the man that really needed to change and can never come back.
We knew with 8 million deaths around the world every year, we knew that there was a need for this globally. We had spent 2 years researching the disease and how it affects different societies and how they approach the stigma associated with that. But then at the same time, I did it, and I know I was not here that long ago, and I want you to know I did not know at the time. I did this almost an obscure mountain bike race outside of Aspen, Colorado in early August. And I started to train for this thing. I always went. It's a 100-mile mountain bike race called the Leadville 100. And in this process of training for it, I thought, you know what? I still like to do this. And in fact, I love this, and I miss it. So I decided to retire from retirement. Two things that are important to look at is the physical aspect and the mental aspect. Physically, I feel strong. I feel just as strong as I should expect. But mentally, I think I'm more motivated and more passionate and more intense than I was before the first tour. So I think ultimately the mind powers the body, and I'm gonna rely on that. And every day when I wake up, I look forward to training. I look forward to getting on the bike, going to the gym, and ultimately I look forward to getting back to racing coming for the beginning of next year.
Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you haven't already, hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Go ahead and tell us what you thought in the comment section down below.